of the House Oversight Committee, Khanna. Congressman, thanks for joining me. What do you think this week's vote accomplished practically?
Well, it sent a clear message that the House Democrats are unified in seeing that the president abused his office by pressuring Zelensky to investigate a political rival, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was up in the polls. Joe Biden is the candidate that the White House has said they most fear. And this was the president's effort to tarnish him. And most people who look at that say it's wrong and it's unconstitutional.
So it sent an almost unified message. I'm sure you're aware. 2 Democrats in Trump districts, Jeff Van Drew in New Jersey, Colin Peterson in Minnesota, they broke ranks with your party. Does that indicate to you that at least some Democrats are concerned that there will be a political cost to this?
Not really, S.E., because there were so many Democrats in Trump districts in Iowa, in Michigan, in Virginia, who where Trump carried the district by 10 points, who voted for the impeachment inquiry. Yeah. So obviously when you have a caucus that is 230-odd members, you're going to lose 1 or 2 votes. But it's remarkable how unified we actually were. And that wouldn't have been the case a couple months ago.
So President Trump has already been damaged by this. New poll, 66% of people say he's acted in a way that's unpresidential. But in that same poll, some bad news for Democrats, Congressman. Views of the Democrats' handling of the inquiry tilt negative. 50% disapprove of the way Democrats have handled this. 43% approve. Pelosi's approval is also underwater. I know you think that this is important no matter what the polls say, no matter what the political consequences. I get that. But the political consequences might not be theoretical. What if Democrats lose the House because of it?
I don't think we will, S.E. Let me tell you what I think the polls are saying. I think most Americans believe that the president's conduct was wrong and there was an abuse of office. But there's also a frustration with every branch of government because what people want is us to focus on infrastructure or lowering the cost of prescription drugs, on education, and they feel like we're not getting anything done. And the ambivalence is reflected in the polls. They agree that what the president did is wrong, but they want us to actually do things that are going to improve people's lives. And that's the challenge, candidly, for Democrats. We have to do our constitutional responsibility, but we have to be focused on our positive agenda and convince people that our priority really is fixing problems in their everyday lives.
So do you know when the public hearings will begin? And part 2, are you concerned that there'll be a circus with, everyone watching?
I believe they're going to begin before Thanksgiving. I hope that we have a vote before the end of the year. I agree with columnist David Brooks that we need to get this process over with, a vote to impeach, put it in the Senate, and then come out with our positive agenda in 2020. And we need to do it in a dignified way. It needs to be evidence-focused and a few witnesses, not going on into a circus, as you put it.
Well, let's talk about some of those key witnesses and who they might be. I know Democrats really want to talk to Don McGahn, the president's former White House counsel. On Thursday, a federal judge questioned the DOJ argument that McGahn is immune from testifying. So we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But what would you want to hear from him specifically if he is forced to testify?
Well, with Don McGahn, there's questions about the president's obstruction of justice, not just in the case of Ukraine, but also in the case with the whole Mueller investigation. But I believe that the most critical witness would be Ambassador Taylor. The public testimony is that Ambassador Taylor had knowledge of the call. He can testify that Rudy Giuliani basically was conducting an operation in Ukraine, compromising our national security to advance the president's re-election agenda, and that they were withholding aid unless Zelensky announced a public investigation against Biden. I think we have to keep it simple. We have to keep it focused on that national security breach and have a few witnesses who will corroborate that and then vote and put this on the Senate.
Congressman Khanna, always good to have you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, S.E.